All right, hello, this is Marie Diaries, and I'm here to do another video reading. All right, so before I get into this reading, with it just turning midnight, it's 12:01 a.m., May 10th, 2025. All right, I just ate some chocolate, some Reese cups. It's that time of the month. But anyways, it's midnight, and I got done doing what I needed to do for myself. So I was deciding that I feel like I'm in the mood to do another reading. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna do another reading. All right, I kind of have a title that I was getting a title for this reading. All right, it says she fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent. I wanted to say spell, or it could be control. All right, but before I get into this reading, my spirit guides, my angels, my archangels, my ancestors of the highest white light. Okay, no, I feel like I need to say that again. My spirit guides, my angels, my archangels, my ancestors of the highest white light, I ask that you come in and guide me, protect me always, 24/7, 365. I ask that you give me the clearest view of this video and this reading through any of the cards or anything that I decide to use and have in my hands. I ask that you immediately return any and all of the negative energies from people, places, and things, including ill will, intent, negative intent, etc. I ask that it immediately, permanently goes back wherever and to whomever, wherever it needs to go. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Thank you. All right, so yeah, that's kind of the title that I was getting. All right, she fell in love with I'm about to say a warrior, a warlock. All right, she fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. All right, so I feel like this is a high level warlock. All right, um, I don't know if there's different like levels or positions or titles or whatever, but this definitely, to me, I feel like this was a high level warlock. All right, so what I'm saying, like, as a high level warlock, like, I feel like this warlock, it's like he pretty much in a way could get away with anything. All right, for the most part, I feel like with him either casting some kind of spell, all right, or something of that nature, with him already making like a deal with someone or something to be able to have these abilities. All right, because I feel like he pretty much already has his covenant together, and he may have started this like over the years. All right, I don't feel like this is something that came, his covenant, whatever, his cult, I don't feel like it has came together like just within a like months. I feel like this is something that was accumulated or like together, put together, like over a period of years or like many years. All right, so I'm gonna start off by pulling from my oracle basket to see what I get that comes out. All right, so let's see. Oh, actually, I'm gonna pause and then I'm gonna come back with. Let's see. I was thinking to get like for this reading maybe 9 or 10 cards, but hold on. All right, so I got the cards. All right, so I was trying to mix them up and like pick them out without seeing or looking at them. So the first card that came out is low key. They're obsessed. All right, we got foolish, bumping heads. We got sixth house. It says wealth. Sixth house is in wealth, or excuse me, it's in health, wellness, work, service, duty, healing, pets, daily routines. All right, we got apology. We got setup. All right, we have a curse. All right, a curse is considered created with conscious and prepared with tools, spell work, employing dark spells and rituals from grimoires. Um, it also is sin, harm, illness, constant bad luck, and difficulties to a person, him or her, or even bloodline. All right. It also says usually lasting long term. It also says constant symptoms, unlucky events, illness that can progressively get worse. All right. Yeah, I feel like with it being across from foolish, this warlock has been doing this. All right. All right, because you may have turned your back from this person or whatever. You got I miss you. All right, something is significant about a lengthy criminal record. All right, we got frenemies. All right, frenemies is a frenemy is a person who is or pretends to be a friend, but who is also in some ways an enemy or a rival. All right, so that could be this warlock. And the last card that I brought, I took out an extra card. It says the focus is on you. All right, so I kind of feel like that is confirming the first card that came out. They're low key obsessed. All right, so this warlock could have definitely have been obsessed with this woman, this feminine energy. All right. Um, Now whether this warlock, whether he felt like this feminine, this female, this woman, whether he felt like she was a witch or not, or whatever have you, or a high priestess or whatever have you, um, this warlock, they had already had their intentions set out. They already had their plan of like what they needed to do or what they wanted to do. All right. So yeah, she fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. I feel like he wasn't able to get her under his permanent control because of something. All right. Maybe it was something specifically that he did, because again, I feel like I said he has a covenant or a cult, whatever is the term that he would call it, but he already has some type of I want to say connections. All right. So but it consists of many people. All right. Um, and these people may not even be his original family. Like this may not be his mother or his side of the family. I'm meaning like this would be his family that he started and created on his own. All right. I see 1212 on the device, and I see 1210 on the alarm clock. I feel like I'm going to start with tarot. Actually, no, I'm looking at this oracle deck. Hold on, I'm gonna get this oracle deck and then I'm gonna go into tarot. Hold on. All right, so it might have still been recording. I don't know why it be doing that lately. I be thinking I'm pausing it and it's not pausing. So maybe something about that could be significant. Yeah, something about entrance. All right, it says 35 ascendant entrance. All right, so maybe okay, so this warlock I'm getting with 1212 on the alarm clock, 1213 on the device. This world, even so to this day, this warlock could be still thinking that they have like something about an entrance into this feminine, this woman, whatever he perceives her to be. He feel like he still has into her or something like that. Look, you got 11 Aquarius collaborate at the back of the deck. So yeah, he still has this feeling of he has entrance into collaborating with her. All right, in regards to some type of stability. You got 44 sixth house stability. And right, so he's still feeling like he could come in and collaborate and have this stability with this feminine, this woman. All right, yeah, with also with 31 Juno partnership being at the back of the deck. All right, so I feel like he's opposition confrontation. Okay, so I was just about to say when that fell out, uh 53 8, oh excuse me, 53 breaks down to 8, but opposition confrontation. I feel like he already has at least 3 women under his group covenant cult, whatever. All right, Now those they could be witches, they could be, yeah, 43 fifth house passion. Is something about passion. And look, root at the back of that. You got emu coli with root. So he definitely has a passion for doing this. Look, six Virgo digest. So he has a passion for doing this. All right. So like I was saying, I feel like he already has like three feminines, women under his cult covenant, whatever. All right. And again, like I said, I feel like that's part of him starting his own family. Yeah, you got six Virgo digest coming out. All right. So we're gonna keep that. So yeah, six in Virgo with digest. All right. So I feel like this warlock, he already has at least three women under his, I want to say under his belt. All right. One of them could possibly be a Cancer sign. You got four Cancer with immerse. All right. The other one could be an Aquarius. 11th house or 11th house, 11 Aquarius collaborate. And maybe the third one could be a Sagittarius. You got nine Sagittarius expand. Maybe one can be also a Scorpio, eight Scorpio investigate. So I feel like this warlock, they have at least three women under his covenant cult, whatever the heck you want to call it. Like, and but they all could have different positions, titles, or whatever. So one could be um a high priestess, one could be a witch, or two of them could be a witch, and maybe he could have one that's a dark witch, one that's a light witch. I don't know. And he could have one that's a high priestess. But I feel like everyone that he do have that he does have under his covenant group, whatever cult, they all got some kind of position or title. But when I was just saying that, you had 52, which breaks down to seven. Excuse me, Trini sextile with symbiosis. All right, let me see. Let me look up what that means again. All right, so symbiosis, it says interaction between two different organisms living in close physical association, typically to the advantage of both. All right, so yeah, that's giving me, and it says for a sentence, it says a a mutually beneficial relationship between different people or groups. Plural noun, symbiosis. It says a perfect mother for a sentence for the sentence. It says a perfect mother and a daughter symbiosis. Yeah, so yeah, this person that's connected to his root or something. Yeah, you got 10 a Capricorn achievement. All right, but you have Trini sextile with symbiosis, 52 breaking down to 7. You got 38 breaking down to 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, emu coli root. So I don't know, I'm getting like two of these uh these women, these mothers, because I feel like they are mothers or something like that, because that's talking about mother and daughter. So obviously, two of them under his covenant group or whatever is like the higher mothers, like the higher level mothers of his group or something. Because he really could have like three women in his group under his covenant, whatever. But two of them got the higher positions or title or something like that. I don't know. But you got 1217 on the alarm clock, 1219 on my device. Yeah, it's something about he feels like he wants to interact with you because um or he wants to he's left the entrance open for you, for either you to come to him or vice versa, because he feel like you're something that he doesn't have, and he wasn't able to capture you the first time. Yeah, you got 7 Libra balance and 16 breaks down to 7 solar calm clarify. Yeah, so this person, they definitely, this warlock, they they're looking, they would like to balance something out with you. Yeah, communication. All right. 41 breaks down to 5 communication, but I feel like you left them you left them hanging or something, because 5 talks about change. It gives me like the 5 of pentacles right now. So I feel like you left them hanging, and then they do want to communicate, whether you have communicated with this person. Maybe you haven't talked to this person in like 5 years or something, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 years. All right, with 41 break it down to five. All right, so it's something about third house communication. They do want to communicate, or they maybe they have been trying to in the past, and even if they have stopped, they in the back of the head they still want to communicate. All right, and something could be a mystery also too, with wondering what you do have going on now that you're not like, maybe that you're not really in full communication with this person. What else? Give me two more cards right now. So she fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent spell or control. Give me two more from this deck. Yeah, you got 54 square, semi-square, quinix, and tension. So, um, 47 ninth house exploration. So this warlock, they could have felt like there was some kind of tension between you and him, all right, or you and him and his other women, witches, high priestess, whatever they call it, all right, because you do have bumping heads, all right, and then across from bumping heads it says I miss you. Yeah, look, you got 31, which break down to four. You got Juno partnership at the back of the deck again. All right, you got progressions with journey that's sticking out. All right, and that's 56 break it down to 11. And again it says progression with journey. So they did want to progress some kind of journey with you. Yeah, look, behind that is two Taurus with cultivate. Their intentions was to cultivate, or to it's giving me like the seven of pentacles, but something didn't work out because there was some kind of tension or something like that. All right, but you also, yeah, with the emu, he was planning to root you, or like 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, he was planning to, yeah, look, Aries act, all right. What is that? One Aries act. Yeah. He wanted to act. That was his intention to act, all right. It's giving me Wands energy, right? So his intentions was to, and if you break 38 down, it's 11, so that's literally 111. So yeah, this warlock, he had the intentions of rooting you under his covenant, his cult, his group, whatever he wants to call it, but there was something about tension, so it didn't work out. Yeah, 20 Mercury messages, all right. So maybe this warlock, at some time when you were interacting with them, there was something about messages, or they received a message or messages, something like that. Yeah, in regards to structure or something like that, you got 24 Saturn structure coming out again. One Aries act. So this warlock felt like they had to act. All right. And then you got 38 emu coli root again. All right, climate. Maybe something, I don't know. I'm getting something about the climate wasn't what I want to say. The climate wasn't hot, or the climate wasn't warm, or I feel like this warlock was feeling like something was off, or something wasn't what he wanted it. So I feel like the climate was off, or I want to say the temperature was off. All right, let's get one more card for this energy. She fell in love, excuse me, she fell in love with a warrior, or why do I keep wanting to say that? So this warlock feel like they're a warrior or something. Yeah, change. All right, you got 25 break down to 7 again. Uranus with change. All right, so this warlock, they felt like they was a warrior through some kind of change with you or something like that. Give me one more card. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent uh, control. We got two cards that came out. We got 33 South Node Pass. So yeah, this is a dealings that this woman, this female, she dealt with this person in the past, or something about the South Node, the past could be significant. You also had 18 Source Sun that fell out, and then back of the deck you got 10 Transit Climate again. So it was something about the climate. Yeah. All right. Something about the climate. All right. And this could have had to do with the community. All right. You got 49, 11th house community. 49 breaking down to 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. Something was off, or something was not right with the climate or something. And it could have stemmed from something within the community, or something being said within the community, or something like that. Yeah, look, because behind that you got 51 breaking down to, well, 51 breaking down to 6, excuse me, with conjunction alliance. All right. So maybe it was something about you not or this feminine not fitting with this alliance, this conjunction. All right. So that's why this warlock, you weren't she wasn't able to be like up under his spell. All right, because again, I feel like this feminine, she was really something that I feel like this warlock, they have never came across before. All right, yeah, and it's something significant about messages. All right, you got 20 Mercury messages, maybe two. So 20 breaks down to two. Maybe he could have been getting some messages from his two highest uh females within his covenant, his group, or whatever. They could have communicated some kind of message with this person, this warlock. Yeah, chariot with the death card. Um, they could have, I want to say presented, or they could have presented or traveled to this warlock with some kind of messages to bring an ending with this other feminine, who I'm saying is not under their, who was not under their group, their covenant, or whatever. Yeah, something about the Page of Cups is significant. All right, I feel like this is an apology, or maybe this is also because this warlock, when he was with the one with this feminine that he almost had under his spell or his control, I feel like it also might have not took place because he could have got messages of two new beginnings, or two new children or something. That's what I'm getting to now with that Page of Cups. All right, and then that messages is at the back of the deck with 20 breaking down to two. So he could have got around the time that he could have been interacting with this other feminine that was not under his group or covenant or whatever. He could have he got messages of informing him of new, I want to say new members, but new additions to his group, his covenant, or whatever. So, and I feel like there definitely could have been a lot of tension from that, around that, and so forth. But then so he could have been, yeah, look, Page of Pentacles. So one of these uh new additions could have been a earth sign, and one could have been possibly a water sign, or vice versa, or they both could have been the both sign. Yeah, look at the deck. Page of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords. All right. And there could have been a lot of bumping heads at that time, because you got bumping heads down here with uh, excuse me, across from I Miss You. Yeah, look, the Queen of Cups is in reverse. So there's something significant about, what was the two signs that came out from the other deck? One was a Aquarius, and the other one was a what was it, a Sagittarius, but it was another one. But whatever. So let's see. Yeah, and the whole time, or even um the whole time this warlock was trying to get you under their control. Yeah, with the Eight of Swords coming out, King of Wands, them taking some kind of initiative to do so, but left them in the Nine of Wands. This could have felt like a setup to this woman, this feminine that was not under this warlock's control or spell. This definitely could have felt like a setup, or something about it was like the energy of a setup, because yeah, Eight of Wands, that he could have wanted to act it on fast, or again, he received some kind of message or something. Something about 8 days could be significant. Yeah, Seven of Wands, full card. So this warlock, since they wasn't able because of whatever they had going, all this that they had going on, um, they decided to set up this feminine by putting a curse on them, because again you have curse out here, and that's under setup. So I feel like this warlock, they decided to put a spell on this feminine, yeah, because for swords, they didn't want this feminine to or something about 4 weeks. Maybe they could have did that 4 weeks after they decided to, after they was dealing with this feminine that was not under their covenant or their group or whatever he calls it. All right, that could have, he could have put a curse on this feminine 4 weeks after he started communicating with her, interacting with her. This could have been during the winter time. All right, you got temperance turning over with the ace of swords. All right, the death card is peeking out. Something between October and December could be significant, or maybe even a little bit before October. All right. Let's see. We're going to get 3 overall cards for this reading. We already 26 into the video. 26 minutes into the video. So she fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his control. Could we get a few cards from this deck? All right. So now we got the Fool coming out in the reverse. All right. What else for this energy? She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his control. We got the 9 of Cups in the upright. 7 of Swords at the back of the deck. She fell in love with a warlock. Ooh, so Judgment just fell out. Okay, so Judgment is coming out. All right, King of Swords. I actually want to get one more card. All right, so let's see. She fell in love with a warlock who almost... Okay, the Ace of Pentacles come out. The Page of Swords was just about to come out at the same time or back to back. Yeah, you got the Page of Pentacles with the Ace of Wands. Wow. King of Swords. And then you got the 4 of Cups at the top of the deck. All right. So, my nose is itching. So, I'm going to clarify these cards. Let's see. 6 of Wands at the back of the deck. So, I feel like this Warlock, they definitely was, they was looking to have a victory or a celebration with something. What exactly, I'm not really sure right now. But it was definitely some energy of bumping heads, or he felt like interacting with this female that was not under his covenant. Yeah, because of a false narrative. All right, a false narrative about his sweetheart, a false narrative about something this sweetheart did to him, to this warlock. Yeah, 7 of Swords came out. Legal issues at the back of the deck. All right, travel. All right, and I see distant future. So yeah, this warlock could have definitely been looking to put this feminine, this woman that was not, since she did not end up under a part of his covenant, his group. Yeah, he wanted to keep this. He wanted to put this woman in this 2 of Swords energy, and this blocked energy barrier, obstacles, barriers, since she was not wanting to be up under his group, his covenant, his cult, or whatever. Yeah, trusted. And I feel like this feminine was definitely somebody that this warlock, this feminine trusted this warlock. All right. Yeah, rich girl. Ice King at the back of the deck. So he could have been, his feelings could have been on ice. All right. He could have been feeling it like this feminine only wanted to gain something by dealing with him, with this warlock. But I feel like at the time, the woman did, this female, she didn't know that who this man was. She didn't know that this man was a warlock. She didn't know that, like, this was something that was I want to say it was hidden, and it was presented well, or it was presented and hid well, that this person, this man, this warlock was a warlock. Yeah, it was hidden well. Yeah, mentally, emotionally unstable with the Chariot coming out. We got concern. Let's see. We're going to clarify these cards. 29 minutes in. Let's see. divination. All right, Page of Wands. Let's see. Clarify this Fool card in reverse. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Clarify the Fool in reverse for this energy. We're going to take those again. Clarify the Fool in reverse. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. We got secrets. Yeah. Give me one more for the Fool in reverse. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Give me one more for the Fool in reverse. We got the Vampire coming out. All right, so I feel like he was keeping King of Wands energy. Hangman. I feel like this warlock, he was keeping hidden that his real intentions with this feminine was only to like siphon her energy. All right, because again, I feel like he didn't hide. I don't know. He didn't hide that. And for the Fool to be in reverse, I feel like he felt like he didn't, something about he didn't have to, he didn't look at this as a risk because he looked at it as an advantage or whatever. I feel like that's why the Fool might be in reverse. He didn't look at this as something that he felt he had to risk or was a risk, because he knew that he was gonna gain something from this, even though he was feeling that way about the feminine, the woman. All right, okay, because this woman again, it was somebody that was not under his covenant, his group already, something that he already had been putting together or establishing. Yeah, with Mature Man coming out, Queen of Swords at the back of the deck. So he was already establishing his covenant, his group or whatever like that. All right, of karmic connections. All right, but you have Ascension and the Ten of Swords that came out. But let's see. Clarify this Nine of Cups in regards to she fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Clarify this Nine of Cups. You got Divine Masculine. So yeah, like I said, this person, this warlock, they hid the fact and presented themselves very well that they was that they were single, that they were by themselves, that they didn't have nothing to like base, kind of like they almost like they didn't have no responsibilities in a way. All right, you got, because they was presenting themselves as they was look as if they were looking for a real love. All right, with their chakras in line aligned and everything, but really there it was illusions. All right, there was illusions, and behind these illusions had something to do with abuse. All right, or something like that. Yep, so that was a part of these illusions, or this was definitely one of the things that this person was hiding. All right, and they was some kind of boss, so they definitely was the head of their group, their covenant, or their cult, or whatever they decided to call it. They definitely was the boss of that, the I want to say the ringleader, the head. Give me another cup for the another cup. So something about that could be significant. You got the Strength card at the back of the deck. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. You got the Expectation card. I'm telling you, this warlock with vampire out here, they definitely had an expectation. Yes, they definitely had an expectation for this feminine, this woman. They most definitely did. All right. Clarify the Judgment card. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under. Judgment is because this person, person who presented and hid themselves, hid that there was a warlock. It's judgment because they really just wanted to cause destruction with this feminine, but they kept this a secret. Yeah, King of Wands, Knight of Wands, that they kept a secret too, that I feel like this feminine was protected from in some type of way, shape, or form. That this warlock, they only wanted to. I feel like it's something about sexual energy, because you literally got the King of Wands, Knight of Wands. Again, this person didn't have to be whatever sign, whatever signs that I'm naming, but with the King of Wands and the Knight of Wands out here. This person was somebody who was heavily uh I feel like just wanting to vampire and use this feminine for, like, I don't know what chakra. I think it would be the sacral chakra, or maybe the chakra before that one, but this one, he just wanted to use this feminine for sexual needs. All right, and that could have been, or energy, and that could have been part of the expectation that he was wanting all along. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Give me another card to clarify. Yeah, and then his plan was to, yeah, look, lust is right there. Wow. And then once he was using this feminine for so long, because you had the world card, it says in what is that, Sagittarius or Jupiter? Yeah, he was planning to end something. All right, he was planning to end something, which you already had them already be in the world card out here. Yes, Saturn talks about time, karma, restriction. All right, so I feel like he needed to do this for a period of time to restrict something from this feminine, or like to restrict this feminine from focusing on other things, because they had a need of siphoning this feminine's energy for their expectation, for their needs and wants, for whatever their gain was. Like, it could have been money, it could have been something else. All right. Yeah. You got mentally, emotionally unstable, commitment, and divine feminine. So something is about this could be significant, that he was saying this about this female. All right. Yeah, chakras. I also see changed. Maybe that could have been part of the message that this warlock had received while he was already dealing with his other women that was under his group, his covenant. Yeah, you got black magic coming out with change. What's behind that? Nine of Wands. So I don't know if he was feeling like this feminine was doing black magic on him. Again, mature man was just turned over, but I turned it that way, faced it, turned it faced out. So maybe this warlock was feeling like this woman, this feminine. Maybe he could have been feeling like that, or vice versa, or something happened that it made it be a change. Because again, I feel like this warlock was receiving a message about not only um these new additions, but to his group or his covenant or his cult. But I feel like it was something else. But you got surprised. All right. I feel like this feminine wasn't surprised when she found out that this warlock was a karmic masculine. All right, and he was connected to karmic ties with what he already had going on. Clarify this Ace of Pentacles. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Yeah. Wow. Look, you got opposition coming out with love spell. All right. So this person, this warlock, their intentions was nothing serious for this woman, for this feminine, whether she ended up finding out that this person was a warlock or not at the time. Because again, they hid and presented and hid it well that they were a warlock, and they presented themselves as somebody that was, you know, I want to say not having a care in the world, kind of like type energy. In the Nine of Cups energy, they presented themselves as like, basically they could come and go as they want, and they just had everything together and stuff like that. All right, but it was something about this warlock with this opposition love spell. Um, this love spell could have been also connected with this curse or something. Like if the warlock felt like something didn't go to plan. Okay, so the warlock could have felt like him doing this love spell. All right, this wasn't intentions to do the love spell, but if something about the love spell like fell through or didn't work or something, then the curse would like activate or something like that, because you have curse out there. So I feel like the initial thing was to set up to do the love spell, but Something about the left spell didn't work, or yeah, it was like a counter active, or alert, like allergic reaction or something like that. I don't know. So then the curse was also connected, or it was just activated, or maybe this warlock um end up deciding to get that done or something. But you have some other cards that came out. You got soulmate, manifestation, two of pentacles, thief, achievement, excuse me, child, and you got hidden enemy. And what just came out, it was the opposition. So all of this they wanted to do to somebody that was not under their group or covenant, that was considered to be a earth angel. So I don't feel like this warlock, now was 12:44 on the alarm clock, now was these other feminines that was already under his covenant, his cult, his group, or whatever, were they considered earth angels? Maybe, maybe not. But again, I feel like there was some illusion about it. It was some illusion about it. Legal at the back of the deck, blocked. All right, and this is why this warlock could have been blocked from being able to have this feminine under his permanent control, because he already had these other feminines, these other women under his covenant group or cult. And he may felt like he did not have in his group covenant, out of those women, those feminines, he may have felt that he didn't have that in his group. So maybe none of them was a earth angel, but they could have been. I mean, it's a possibility, maybe, maybe not. But I feel like he did have karmic ties or energy to his to the women that was already under his group or covenant. But let's clarify this Ace of Pentacles. All right, the Death card came out. I'm not ready to Page of Swords. Clarify this Ace of Pentacles. She fell in love with the warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. So those just want to come out. We got Bliss and we got Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, I'm not going to take the Nine of Pentacles. But yeah, again, like I said, karmic connection. This warlock, they got bliss out of, I want to say something like, oh, look, actual money came out again, pathway. Something about them, like restarting something, or, yeah, look, temperance just came out, evil eye at the back of the deck. It's something about them having bliss with restarting something, or because you literally got Nine of Cups, divine masculine expectation. You got Ace of Pentacles, bliss. 45 breaks down to 9. So that's giving me, it's making me feel like that's the Nine of Cups again. So yeah, this person definitely got yeah, the ancestor said, Page of Pentacles, divinations. The ancestor said he got this warlock got something about a kick or a good feeling out of like restarting something, or having something new, or I'm getting new or shiny. Yeah, look, Earth Angel just came back out again. All right, that's the truth with the Ace of Swords, manipulation. So, but his intention was to manipulate this Earth Angel. Again, like I said, he might not have had one of these in his group or something like that, but his intentions was to continue to manipulate this Earth Angel. All right, because again, he might not have had one of those in his group. Now, he might have had a dark witch, a white witch, a high priestess, whatever positions, titles that they have. Yeah, Two of Pentacles. But I don't feel like he had an earth angel in his, under his group, his covenant, and that might not even work. It might not have would have even worked for his covenant, his group. Yeah, manipulation again. But he was willing to try to manipulate that to make it work somehow or something like that. Give me another card to clarify this Ace of Pentacles for this energy. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Voodoo. All right, so something about voodoo could be significant. Travel. All right, he could have traveled to get voodoo done. All right. This warlock just already knew how to do voodoo. Yeah, something with social media could be significant. And you got conflict. All right, jealousy, envy. All right. Maybe there could have been some kind of conflict that ensued because of what he was seeing on social media, or something about social media could be significant, or he was doing voodoo with social, something with social media and voodoo could be connected. Clarify this Ace of Pentacles bliss with voodoo in regards to she fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Clarify Ace of Pentacles bliss and voodoo. You got concern. All right. So I feel like Six of Pentacles. This warlock, they could be concerned about this now. I'm not sure why, but they could be. They could be concerned about this now. Yeah. Even with them being in this obsessed energy. I feel like this voodoo could have made them obsessed or something. I don't know. Obsessed. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. You got obsession, emotional manipulator, hater, and then at the back of the deck, you got Two of Cups with the Chariot. Wow. That's crazy. Um, yeah, very crazy. And look what's behind the Chariot. So, yeah, Magician. All right. So, I mean, it don't matter what they sign is or whatever sign this warlock is. Let's see. Hold on a minute. All right, we're going to get a few cards from this Oracle deck, and then I'm going to get to closing this out. Clarify this voodoo, that's at the end, no. Clarify the Fool in reverse. She fell in love with the warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Clarify the Fool in reverse. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Clarify this Fool in reverse. I know that's not what I think. Yeah. Yep. Drinking, toxic lifestyle. So this person was planning to, they was hiding the fact that they just wanted to drain this feminine. And that's why I feel like the Fool came out in reverse. They didn't feel like this was a risk because they already had set out a plan. Like they already had intentions for what they was going to do. I feel like that's why setup came out. I feel like that's why curse came out. But then they could have been in this energy, even though they felt like they could have been bumping heads with this feminine, this female that was not under their covenant or cult. They could have been bumping heads with this female at some point in time, but they was portraying themselves like they missed this feminine. Yeah, something was hidden or some kind of hidden secrets, truths or something. Because this gives me the every time I see this card now, it makes me think about the other card from the other oracle deck. So I associate that with that. So yeah, something was hidden or some kind of hidden secrets, which we already have secrets out here. All right, so this, yeah, this that this warlock wanted, and it's coming out double. What the that this warlock wanted to do that? Why the heck it come out twice like that? What's in between all of those? You got, wow, you got trap, romance, research, praying, dating, trapped. Wow, and trap came out literally twice from two different decks. So this was definitely the intention of this warlock, was to trap this feminine. All right, you got and they could have had somebody watching her. All right, you got security guard, patrol keeper, watchman, service provider. Yeah, but they, like I said, this warlock, they already had an intention. That's why they didn't feel like it was a risk, because they was keeping this a secret that they wanted to just drain this feminine dry, I feel like, or whatever. Give me another card to clarify the Fool in reverse. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his control. Yeah, somebody that definitely could have been a swindler. All right, so a few cards came out. You got ashamed. All right, so now this warlock could be feeling ashamed, all right, about what they was trying to do. They could be in this state of ashamed, but I don't feel like they giving up. I don't necessarily feel like they giving up, but they definitely could be feeling ashamed, guilt, embarrassed, in the wrong, all right, because it was over greed. All right, you already had the Ace of Pentacles out here. All right, give me one more. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. So his intentions was for money, for greed. Give me one more for this Fool in reverse. For this energy out here. She fell in love with the Warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Bumping heads come out again. But he felt like child at the back of the deck. He felt like there was some bumping of heads, whether it was with this feminine or not, or whether it was bumping heads with the women that he already had under his covenant, his group or whatever, because child is at the back of the deck. So it could have been this energy of bumping heads because um he had, like I said, he already had stuff going on, but you got child running and feelings at the back of the deck. All right, so maybe he could have been feeling like he could have redeemed a relationship with this woman that wasn't under the group, this covenant, by having a child with her. I see debt coming out. All right, I also see intuition. Yeah, I feel like this woman, this feminine, she definitely could have had some intuition or something about something after a while, or she started figuring something out, or she just started getting some kind of sign or knowing or something. Clarify this Nine of Cups. She fell in love with a Warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Clarify this Nine of Cups. Clarify the Nine of Cups for this energy. Ooh. All right, we got Captain. Captain is the bottom card. It says Navigator of Destiny, Voyage, Leadership, Decision Making, Objective. So this person, warlock. I'll keep wanting to say warrior. So this person definitely feel like they're a warrior for whatever reason. They definitely feel like they're a warrior. But they are most definitely the captain. I want to say they are the captain of their boat or something. The other two cards that came out is friend and player. So they came in as somebody that was loyal, that this feminine could trust, all right? That this person could be a companion with, but they was really a player, all right? They came as a player who was a friend. They presented to make themselves open, like, available, or they made themselves available, like that this feminine could, talk to, confide in, whatever, like that. So I feel like that's why them two cards is coming out together. They definitely was waiting. All right, you got waiter. It says attendant of hospitality. Again, it says attendant of hospitality, steward, and cleaner. All right, give me another card. She fell in love with a warrior who almost had her under his permanent control. Clarify this Nine of Cups. We're going to take this one over here. We got driver. Yeah. Driver, it says navigator of journeys, stirring, safe passage, and welcome. Yeah, they made themselves feel, they made this feminine feel like they made this feminine feel safe with them being the captain, and the driver, and the driver in the driver's seat. They made this feminine feel safe. They made this feminine feel like she was welcome, like the energy of making this feminine feel welcome to this to his group or something. But you got left you hanging, but they no closure, no contact, left on red. So yeah, they definitely could have left this feminine hanging, all right, without no curries. What? No carries in the world, or no carries in the world. Is that what I'm saying? Yeah. Give me another card for the Nine of Cups. She fell in love with a warrior who almost had her under his permanent control. What else to clarify this Nine of Cups? What else to clarify the Nine? All right, so this is something that was not a workplace affair, all right, with it coming out in reverse. But there definitely still was the aspect of money, greed involved, or gaining something, as I've been saying since the start of the video, all right, behind some kind of lies. We're going to keep that. Yeah, this warlock was intending on gaining something through some sort of lies. We got travel at the back of the deck. Give me one more card to clarify this Nine of Cups. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Give me one more to clarify this Nine of Cups. You have, ooh, So I don't know what that's about. But maybe this person, since we already had the death card out here, we got friend at the back of the deck. Um and you got vampire. So I feel like this warlock was keeping it hidden that that was the way that they was gonna try to drain this feminine by making this feminine commit suicide in some way, shape, or form. Because you got the nine of cups, you got captain and driver. Maybe I feel like that's coming out because maybe they was the intentions was to never really um commit to this feminine, never really give them what they claimed they wanted or what they was like trying to, like I said earlier, trying to present as what they wanted, or again they presented and they hid it well of what their true intentions was for this feminine. Yeah, friend came back out again. It's falling right on top and bumping heads and ooh's eye. Yeah, keeper of trust, companion, support, and sharing. Look, you got player at the back of the deck again. Clarify judgment, loyalty. The soldier card was just coming out, trying to come out. So that could be clarifying that warrior energy. All right, so she fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Clarify this judgment card for this energy. Clarify the judgment card for this energy. What do we need to see to clarify the judgment card? Oh, okay. We got blocked. All right. We got all of these falling right on top of friend. Let's see. Trying not to pause the video, but we got blocked. It says spam calls text. So, yeah, left you hanging behind that. All right. But so he definitely, this warlock, it's like they wanted to start something, but then leave it on hold or something, so that he can see what this feminine was gonna do, like what was gonna be the outcome or whatever. All right, you got left you hanging, architect with weaver of blueprints, planning, design, supervision, construction. You also had live it in the moment. So yeah, yeah, I definitely feel like gift also did come out. I feel like this the judgment is that that was like part of his plan or something. Yeah, to say goodbye. All right, I'm gonna keep that too. All right, so the plan was to say goodbye to this feminine. Yeah, we got fake death coming out. We got JA. All right, which is hidden truth, secrets, whatever. Again, so judgment was that they was planning on saying goodbye, which would cause destruction. What would be like, if it was if which it wasn't, but they was feeling like this feminine was gonna succeed, or it was gonna be a succeed for the warlock, for this feminine to basically take herself out. Yeah, you got vendor that came out. It says merchant, retailer, individual entrepreneur. So maybe then this warlock would start some kind of independent entrepreneur journey or something. I don't know. Clarify the judgment card. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. What else to clarify the judgment card? All right. I just seen community. What community and what? Accomplice, partner in crime. Oh, wow. So there was someone in the communities that was connected to this, all right? And they definitely was an accomplice or partner in crime. All right, so this could have been one of the community. It says neighbors, team, connection, society, cooperation. So they had cooperation from the community, which one or more people was accomplice or partner in the crime to do some kind of lies in order to get this money, or to gain that greed or whatever, which would be the money, or whatever kind of abundance or whatever it was supposed to be. What else to clarify the judgment card for this energy? She fell in love with the warlock who almost had her. Yeah, again, but I feel like this person could be in regret now That's also part of this judgment. This warlock, they're in regret now of what they were trying to do, because maybe something, they could feel like something is a concern now under that Ace of Pentacles. Something could be feeling like a concern now about what they was really trying to do. What else to clarify this Ace of Pentacles, or what to clarify the Ace of Pentacles? Yeah, the lies could have been that yeah, wow. The lies could have been they've been saying that this feminine was that, all right, and something about fraud, all right, or he could have been saying this warlock boss energy could have been saying that this feminine was that, and that this feminine was a fraud or something, or but something obviously I feel like could have been fraud too connected to this. I see caregiver, all right, so something could be connected to fraud and caregiver. Uh, to get this Ace of Pentacles, clarify the Ace of Pentacles, or what needs to be seen for this Ace of Pentacles. She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. Clarify the Ace of Pentacles. Give me one card to clarify this Ace of Pentacles for this energy. Dang. Let's see. Hold on. We got, wow. Okay. Just, ooh. Yeah. We're going to take them all. We got, first I seen those ones. So we got ghosted, off and on, hot and cold. We got egotism, and we have my way, which is selfish, stubborn, arrogant, pride, and ego. All right. But they could be acting as if they want to apologize because they're in regret about what it is that they were really trying to do. They could be in this energy of regret and wanting to apologize, and they could be wanting to say this or communicate this with this feminine, again, who is not under or a part of this group covenant or whatever that this warlock has going on still. Yeah, because they was blindly following through with doing something with a spouse partner, all right, at the back of the deck, who is their under their group already. Mother is sticking out. Let's see if I can get it. Is that it? Yeah, that's something about home, healing too, all right, but there go mother. I see desert. Yeah, so the plan was to leave this feminine in this deserted energy, and by assassinating this feminine energy. Clarify what else to clarify this Ace of Pentacles. She fell in love with the warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. What else to clarify this Ace of Pentacles for this energy? You got running and feelings. So instead of them coming and saying anything to this feminine, this warlock decided to run off with their accomplice or whoever again was a part of their that they're married to. They decided to run off with this person even though they were still in their feelings, knowing about what they was doing. Yeah, spiritual gifts. I feel like this feminine could definitely have some kind of spiritual gifts, which was this feminine's intuition or whatever, to let them know what this is. Or they just, I feel like piece by piece figured this out. What else to clarify this Ace of Pentacles? She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. What else to clarify this Ace of Pentacles? Something about a landfill. We got landfill coming out. Also with hunter, it says stalker of prey, aim, strategy, pursuit, and survival. So they definitely could have been planning to make some kind of strategy to stalk this feminine with an accomplice. So this definitely could have been something that was still being done after I feel like this warlock ghosted this feminine who was not part of their group covenant or call or whatever he calls it. All right. Yeah. Assassination had turned over again. They was very loyal about doing this, but I feel like this person could be losing sleep, worried, replaying events, thinking about this feminine still though. What else to clarify this Ace of Pentacles? She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. What else to clarify this Ace of Pentacles? Clergy. So something about a clergy, guardians of faith, religion, mortality, compassion, scarce mission. So this warlock, they had faith that this was gonna work out or something like that. They had a lot of faith in this, or it's something about their religion or something. Um, I don't know. I want another one. Let's see. What else to clarify this Ace of Pentacles? She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. What else to clarify this Ace of Pentacles? You got clown coming out with doctor, and you got female. All right. So clown, it says jester of laughter, comedy, mask, performer. Doctor, it says healer of elements, treatment, surgery, diagnosis, compassion. And you have female at the back of the deck. What's behind female? Gang, firestorm, couple, and grandparent. So something about those could be significant. All right, so those was at the back of the deck, and you have grandparent. I also see family sticking out. Um, Fireman is also out behind player. So this person could have been presenting themselves also, like with them being in that warlock energy. I see 111 on the alarm clock. They could have been making themselves as like they was rescuing a damsel in distress. I'm getting like, so they could have felt like with them being this warlock that they was hiding that they was rescuing this feminine who they felt like was in distress or needed rescued or something like that. I don't know, but I'm getting that. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and close out this reading. Um, I guess I'm gonna use this. This is gonna be the last reading for tonight. 1:11 a.m. on the alarm clock. 1:13 a.m. on the device. So what do we need to see from this deck in regards to this energy? She fell in love with a warlock who almost had her under his permanent control. What do we need to see from this deck? We got misunderstanding, misinterpretation, misinformation, ineffective in communication. So yeah, like I said, I definitely feel like this warlock, they would like to still communicate. I feel like at this time over whatever the misunderstanding was. Again, like I said, there go fake death again, which talks about disguise, concealment, keeping secrets, hidden truth. So this warlock could want to talk or communicate to this day about whatever they was disguising or concealing or keeping secrets about, hiding truth about, some kind of forced sin, cunning. It says the dark side of a human. All right, so this person could want to still talk about what they was hiding, whatever the secret uh agenda was that they were disguising, keeping concealment about. What else to clarify? She fell in love. Yeah, betrayed, just wanted to turn over. Give me three more. She fell in love with a warrior who almost had her under his permanent control. Two more. All right, you got dream, but that was coming out in reverse. It says prophecy, hint, guidance, oracle, reveal, symbolize. So I feel like this person, they weren't guiding themselves or something about they didn't have guidance or whatever. Or maybe they felt like they was doing this to this feminine with the spells that they was doing, but you still have betray at the back of the deck. But what was the other two cards? Wow, we got poison, harmful, destructive. Harmful and destructive, all right? Yeah, that's falling under judgment. And you have reject. It says firm rejection. Yeah, so they did reject this feminine because ultimately, even though they could still have wanted to communicate at some time, they intentions was to cause destruction for this feminine. But again, with betraying is feminine. Okay, so you got betray at the back of the deck, divergence, different values, change of heart, thought, manipulation. Yeah, whatever this warlock was, I want to say manifesting, it was to betray this feminine, and it could have had something to do with different values, but it was definitely a thought out manipulation. Yep, yep. All right, so I don't know, it's 110 on the recording, so I feel like I'm gonna go ahead and close this out here. So yeah, I'll see you later, and I'll see you in the next video.